welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. It's almost time to jump into our first match of the evening, which is going to be Team Liquid taking on Splyce. It'll be here on Inferno, where just a few weeks ago, Splyce was actually able to take a map off of SK here, so we're going to have to see if they can do it again against NA's own best here, and that's going to be against Team Liquid. We do apologize for that little bit of a delay with getting the match started, where it was a big update, obviously, with Dust 2 just being added back in, so we need to get these servers and everything up to sync. You know how it goes, so we should be pretty much good to go in just a couple of seconds here, though, and ready to jump into the match. And what do you know, right on cue. There we go, Launders.
Yeah, perfect, as usual. This is an interesting matchup because Splyce, as you mentioned, had like a really standout performance versus SK. On the first half of that match, I think they had some trouble and then picked it up. Obviously, it ended up going to OT, so very down to the wire. But overall, have obviously shown that they can play it. Now, Roka comes out for that really aggressive B pick with a flash from his teammate to make sure that he can fall off of it safely and hits that first bullet as Roka normally does.
Gets out of there, no damage taken as well, so it's a clean first kill for Splyce here on the pistol, and that is going to cause some hesitance for Team Liquid as they now get into old car spot. They'll still stick with the plan, however, moving in. Davey, unfortunately, going to get flashed out. Roka still able to do work from Nubox, and now 2 more headshots being added to his counter. Might be able to get another one here in a second, making it 4. And there it is, and it's another headshot as well. Nitro now left alone. Can we see the ace from Roka on the pistol? Well, not sure entirely just yet, as Nitro's going to end up falling back down banana here towards mid, but at 9 HP and stuck in a 1v4, the odds are not looking very good. I think it's safe to say that Splyce will more than likely end up controlling this pistol, but let's wait and see what Nitro's going to try to cook up here as he attempts to rotate back over here towards the A-bomb site. Players from Splyce have already figured out what's going on here, so they're going to be in the site waiting for him, and as soon as he peeks into one of these players' viewpoints, then the jig will be up, and his attempt to rush the plant. There we go. Drone will take him down, securing it for Splyce as they go 1-0 to start things off.
What an amazing round from Roka. Definitely want to watch those kills back if possible. The initial one-tap after pushing banana, and then the pristine sight hold from quad. A lot of nice one-taps. All headshot kills, and made it look very simple, but yeah, pretty much simple beat pressure from Liquid, answered back by stalwart defense from Splyce. So that was a very clean round. Obviously Nitro rocking it back. It was an easy read for Splyce. When they saw the bomb, they heard him running, and you know he really did have to run to make sure that no one rotated, even if they didn't hear him. But now we have Liquid taking hauls with 5 CZs. Molly comes out, decentivize them from pushing. Mitch is here to spot it in case any shenanigans go down, and Splyce have already made their way down banana.
So they've been able to accomplish that, and with that said, that's not going to be looking good for Team Liquid, even though they do manage to get into apartments. They have good control established here. They kind of have to halt themselves now because they know the CTs have gotten aggressive. However, in taking up these positions and kind of stopping themselves, they are able to secure the first kill this time, taking out Roka early on instead of letting him go off like on the pistol here. Davey is now going to end up falling back, so they give up all that control they just worked to get. That's now going to give Liquid a slight advantage to play off of here. We can see Davey trying to get tricky with this, spamming into it. He does actually manage to headshot Nitro with the spam. We'll take him out, gets the trade from earlier. And Liquid will not immediately dive into the B site looking for a response to that. They are going to group up here first before attempting to go to it. And even if they do move in now, there's also going to be the additional support of Semphis here in the B-bomb site.
They don't have nades to defend. Just Semphis with a flash, and they even have a Molotov and a smoke to work with.
They saw Davey, or at least Stanislaw might have seen him. Nope, they don't realize he's there at first, but he still isn't able to pick up any additional kills. Semphis spamming into this also fails to get anything done here, so that's a clean site take for the most part from Team Liquid. And these last two, they're going to attempt to quickly rotate over into the site, but their odds are going to be very outmatched here. Drone does have a decent amount of utility, but he does have to wait for Mitch to get into a better position so they can start this retake. And now with Team Liquid also scavenging all 3 of the guns that were dropped by Splyce previously, well, Liquid's going to have just as much firing power as they brought in with full armor. They don't have any utility left. That's the one thing that Splyce is going to have an advantage upon, but as they start to move back in here, we do see a first kill going their way, but immediately afterwards, Stanislaw trades, and Drone stuck in a position he can't escape from, so Twist will take him down, and immediately Liquid tie it up at 1-1.
I think the initial B push was they were just hoping to find someone getting caught off guard at the bottom of that after they threw their initial nades. And then when they didn't find one, I think Roka maybe should have been a little bit more worried that, okay, they might realize that we have pushed down mid. And he did end up walking, but him by himself peeking into alt and then just getting blown away by 2 people waiting for him might have been him overextending. It's hard to say. I think sometimes you win that fight, sometimes you don't. But they really made the anti-eco look quite easy. I mean, maybe you just start by not getting so aggressive when a team hasn't given you a kill right off the bat. Halls control here for Liquid. So they've stolen back to momentum. Counter force from Splyce, which is probably somewhat unwarranted because... Actually, no, they had 2 alive, I think. So there's So I think that Liquid economically aren't doing too well, but we'll see if it pays off. It looks like Liquid wants something to do with mid, and we have a 3-hall setup. Or 3 porch side setup, I should say, from Splyce.
Still no serious movement from the guys on Liquid to try and take any sort of map control, however, as they're all just stuck in mid. But that's going to change in these next few seconds. As we start to see Liquid moving in, Splyce set up here with a 3-man play. Mitch is going to have to move, however, unless Twist continues on this path. It looks like he actually does, so Mitch will be fine staying in those halls, assuming he can get the kill, of course. The rest of Liquid, though, quickly wrapping in. Well, they're going to find Mitch out in the open. Drone will trade for 2 kills before going down to a Liege, and now Semphis actually still sits in pit, but not for very long. Twist will dive down from the balcony to eliminate him. Doesn't get anything done there. And these last 2, they are rotating over, but I'm not entirely sure what they're going to be able to put together here. Just a Deagle and a Scout sitting on Davian with the smoke, especially now going into Library. It definitely hurts their capability to try and do anything about this 2v3, but we'll see if they attempt to do much, or if they'll just sit back, look for a couple exit frags, and then save these guns, as they will have to eco fully in the next round, and that does seem to be the option they're taking here.
So this is the video that I made that we showed on the stream, was in reference to that exact round that Liquid pulled off with the Arch Wrap, the same players in the same spots, and Splyce didn't have anyone to spot Arch, so with their 3-lane setup, if it was a lot of pressure on lane, they might have had an easier time dealing with that. Drone ended up killing 2 players that wrapped Arch with the CZ, so that was pretty nice, and they had a weapon disadvantage, so there is that to take into consideration, but overall, Liquid gave themselves the best possible chance to win that round at A. And it can get tricky depending on if there's a gamble stacked towards your site, but here's Drone from the site, and his POV as he uses the CZ.
It's a nice lineup there in order to get the 2 headshots, but unfortunately the CZ obviously very limited on ammo, so he's not going to be able to chain to get to that 3rd one there.
That gun needs a buff.
Clearly. So Splyce, as I said before, do end up on the full eco after dropping that last round and trying to force back and get the lead back. They'll be unsuccessful, so that means Team Liquid are going to start off with the advantage here at the beginning of the map. Davey trying to get aggressive here, actually. Saw the player jumping across, but I think he was spotted too, so he's not going to be able to stay here for very long. He does end up backing away, and I believe he's going to go now with Semphis through arches, rotating over towards B, as that only has 1 player on it defending it, and that's currently Roka. Standing just spotted him too, so Roka does not want to take the additional chance on staying out here and potentially dying, leaving the site open. He'll fall back and play up on top of the first oranges, I believe.
So we have some semblance of a stack over at B. Splyce, I think, are just gambling here. After Davey spotted mid, didn't see anybody rushing up, and they figure, okay, well, if they're not going to come for fast brackets, we'll hope they do B quickly, and if not, then we'll just think about the next round. And they don't invest anything here, so it's important to have power in numbers in this circumstance. But Splyce are actually going back to their site, so this might play into their favor. A good read from Splyce, perchance.
Stanislaw still getting himself over. Trying to get that old car control, as they are going to actually wrap in and split through arches here and trying to get control over the B bomb site. Stan already getting what looks like a pretty nice kill too onto Davey there, closer to CT, I believe is where that happens. Yeah, so that takes him out through the wall partially, and Shady him wrapping in. They almost don't catch Semphis at first, but they take him out. It's just systematically shutting it down. Mitch is allowed to sneak through with 1 kill here. That's the only one that they're going to be able to get. Drone is now the last man standing, and with only a measly little USP, it looks like he might just try to head over towards CT and test his luck on exits, but more than likely will come out empty-handed here, so Liquid should be able to escape 3-1 as Splyce will look to buy in the next round. So
it was a site they were hoping for, but their 1 player at A who was listening for any auditory cues didn't notice that there was 2 players that were going to wrap Arch. I think was worried that maybe after he stopped hearing them that they were potentially just walking the Arch Wrap and then they were going to hit A, and Splyce weren't going to move. They were going to just sit and wait and see if they could get any stragglers at B, but it ended up being their site. And versus the stack, Liquid found a good way to split it. So now we have a buy up again. 2 Famuses, 3 M4s. Liquid haven't upgraded anything, really. They've hung on to this MAC-10. They're going for top banana pressure. Stanislaw looks to sneak up here. Won't have too many nades to deal with, and they know that Splyce don't have the best buy, so.
Nades coming in, actually going to do massive damage to Roka. They have to triple nade him, but it gets the job done, and it does give Liquid an early kill here to work off of again, as they're now getting prepped to move up and take full banana control. So they have the molly there. They're going to have to wait a couple seconds for that to clear. Can push in after that. Stan going through. They won't find anyone just yet. That player's back inside of Church instead of hanging out towards CT. So they'll be able to safely escape back over there. And now, as we see the execute coming in, well, there's no really defense actually set up by Splyce in the site. They get smoked out at Garden, and that's the end of it. Davy's going to end up pushing through, but he just ends up walking into a massive amount of numbers. However, Nitro does the same exact thing, instead jumps into Semphis, however, and Semphis at least gets the trade for that. Splyce, however, still looking heavily injured as they rotate the remaining players over to this site. Drone, I believe, getting hit when he crossed CT, now down to 24 HP, so he's going to be very delicate for the rest of this round. Liquid does have another player themselves that's also quite low, but he's safely tucked away over there by Grill, so low chance of him actually needing to do much here. These other three players should be able to easily close out unless Splyce really come back in with strong re-entries. At the moment, they're wasting a lot of time in trying to just set themselves up. They go 1 for 1 in the start, but they lose too many players here, and Semphis will go down last, giving the first gun round here to Team Liquid with a 4-1 lead.
The retake comes close. They did quite a bit of damage, but Liquid seemed to be in control the entire time. They also didn't have that kind of that big flank coming up Banana, which can be very helpful, but also kind of risky for the CTs to think, all right, should we push down mid? When a team got the 5v4 so early, they might have somebody waiting in halls or something like that just to catch somebody like me. So instead, went for the very standard play. It doesn't pay off, and Splyce have to go back to saving. So all they had to do was just nade Roka at Sandbag. That was such an easy frag for Liquid. It's a big problem for Splyce.
Now this time, not sure if the molly bounce was intentional, but I believe it was, as it does clear out the cubby there too. That'll get them the opportunity to go around the corner really quickly and kind of clear things out here. And now they can pretty much just walk onto the A site here. There is a 3-man setup, as we would normally expect, so they're going to use their mollies to kind of clear things out. Pistols can be a little bit difficult sometimes, so they're just playing this safely at the moment, taking it very slowly as they've been given all this controls. They know for a fact there has to be at least 2 or 3 players hiding out within the vicinity of that site somewhere, so they want to try to push all angles here. You can even see Twist rotating over there towards the halls too. He's now going to get ready to move in, checking to make sure no one moves off the molly. A quick flick onto the head of Mitch takes him out of the picture. It was actually a duel Mitch in theory could have won since it was close quarters, but unfortunately no match for the draw there. Twist, who takes him down very quickly. Davy, though, fares better against Ali. She's going to take him down. However, the A-site player's not faring too well. Drone sneaks through the cracks. He's able to get one for himself, traded out. Now Davy, who newly armed with an AK, is also going to be able to get 1 kill. That'll be the end of it, however. And Roka now put up against a 1v2. I don't think there's a gun he can retrieve close by that he would be able to use to try and win this 1v2. However, he still attempts to go for it anyway. And now that he's been found, he'll speed things up pretty quickly, trying to jump over the hay barrel, but he's just not being given enough vision in order to fully commit himself to this site, looking for the best angle to try and line up some kind of a headshot against Twist here in Pit, but it's not happening. The stars are not aligning. That means more than likely that Liquid will close out, because yes, indeed, Roka does give up here finally. I think he's probably going to try to wrap around, pick up one of the guns that might be hiding closer over here towards Arches, and then hightail it out.
Yeah, I think he just wants to catch them exiting, and he knows that they just saw him lane, so if he's lucky enough, can get a kill. And there's that guy's still technically trapped in library, and also, almost
so
died,
close. But
not quite. Yeah, nice. Would have been nice to have that AK. And it's actually, Liquid have done a pretty good job. Even with that round where they lose 3 people, they still have so much money left over. So buy-ups are not going to be a problem, but further, they're going to have money to buy even if they lose. Splyce are going to go for the double op adjustment. I quite like this. I think that when you are losing a lot of rounds or when you're winning a lot of rounds, either way, in a situation where you have to change it up because what you've been doing is just not working, this can catch the other team off guard, and it also just takes a load off of your IGL strategically. Oh, wow, that was an excellent grenade.
So that kind of wrecks Allegia's health pool right from the start. He's almost getting hit for max damage on that with armor. The double ops, by the way, are going to be split 1-1 across the map. Semphis currently playing his in the A site, and Davy shifting for the back as the other nade is going to come very close to connecting there. Now we see the rest of Liquid getting ready to move out here, once again favoring the mid control as they've been doing for most of this half up to this point too. And Splyce are pretty much just going to let them take it. There's no aggressive mid presence being established here by these guys. The closest thing to that is going to be Drone. And Semphis having a bit of a cross angle there on Rap side towards Library, but even there falling back from that position now and going closer to the A site since the timer's beginning to run down. Liquid have shown some amount of control over towards the porch side, so I think they're getting a little bit worried of just a heavy push from that direction, and they'd be right to assume so. As there's going to be 3 men coming outside, and wow, what poor timing for Mitch. He was completely unready for that, switching away his weapons. They're still going to be able to trade out a couple of kills. 2 for 2, it's even so far. Now into the advantage of Drone as he clears out the remaining 2 players actually in the site, leaving only Stanislaw alive here on Rap side. He's at full HP, but he's lost control of the bomb that's sitting way back over right outside of the actual site. And now he has to try and clutch a 1v3. He only also has 30 seconds left to do this, so we'll try to creep up towards Library. Knows that someone's probably going to be hiding there. It's right to assume that, although he spams a little bit too early here. That is going to let him go through the cross, though, as that will push Roka further back. But now getting up to the site, Jordan's going to give that intel away, and he won't even need assistance. Just closes out the last player on his own and ends up with a 4K on the round.
What a monster play from Drone. We'll just watch that hold back again. Just playing his sight box to perfection, and because no one actually wrapped Arch on him, he could just stand here and fight all these players at both lane and halls. I mean, even though they're at different angles, they're all right in front of him, so it makes his job a whole lot easier. And then and obviously he's picking up the slack for Mitch, who dies in pit, who's probably in the most strong position just because he was quick switching, which is just such a ridiculous thing, right? That should never happen.
Splyce will be trying something interesting here in this round as they now upgrade to the triple op setup. Mitch, once again, unfortunately, ends up being the brunt of bad news here for Splyce. He's going to take massive damage early on due to a peek down the long haul. He's now down at 28 HP, and it looks like he's just falling back to play into a pit position now, since he's not going to be able to peek out into that hole any longer.
Well, it's the usual suspects. As Elysian and Twist spend some time clearing out halls, which they like to do, and all the while they take banana control to make it really hard to communicate what's going on for the CTs. They've given up full control of everything, completely passive setups, and at this point, it's the terrorists who have a big advantage. Stanislaw is in a very forward position for anyone to regress or try to retake banana, and they know that because they have so much map control, it's very common for CTs to try to regress. We saw Kusta end up killing Elysian, the spot that he is in Boiler, a couple of times during executes, and I see him now wary of the fact that he can be vulnerable sometimes, waiting patiently.
Well, the rest of Liquid now going to be moving in once again. Free mid control, and half of Rap side is theirs for free too, getting all the way up to Arches. However, doing this so many times, Sempus does expect this, so he's going to be watching it, but looks away just as they're starting to go out and peek this, so you might want to go back and check that now, as there's going to be a nasty surprise waiting for him. He does get the slight spot onto Nitro. He's unable to recover in time, however, and is caught switching over to the pistol. Mitch had better luck, though. He picked up one more kill before Sempus was just eliminated here, and now Stan looking to sneak into the site. Player on the actual approach is going to be taking most of the attention, so Drone will kill him first, but now Elige responds. Stan, of course, prioritizing getting the bomb down since the time was very low, but he's going to move right out and take down the last player alive in the site. Knocks out the pit guy, and now the only ones remaining for the C2 side are those rotating over from B. They have a very good chance of clutching this, though. They will be lacking utility, but Elige already down to 10 HP. Makes this job for the CTs a whole lot easier. It's going to come down a lot to these positions being established. Stan, once again, coming back in now with a newly armed weapon, peeks around the corner, knocks out Roka, peeking Library. All of a sudden, this is not so easy anymore. Davey just tries to shift walk in, and Elige will absolutely destroy him the moment he sees him. Damn, they both, and there's 5 kills between the two guys who are still alive, and they both did their part. Elige with a trade on Sempus, which was very important. Sempus played his position well. He just he even fell off, but he still managed to hold on to anybody who might go through CT. I think he just pushed into, he fell off the angle because the arch wrap smoke was gone, so he wanted to make sure that his teammates, or that he couldn't get flanked himself from Library if they decided to lurk in, but got his kill and got the info. And then the 2 players in pit also had a really good spot. And as soon as you saw a Drone left alive in pit when the bomb goes down the 2v3, Stanislaw realizes this guy has to die, because otherwise we're going to have to constantly worry about him. And sometimes you got to pop a pimple, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just let the pimple... I was running on a little bit there.
Drone, you little pimple.
So let's see here. Liquid once again taking their time on the setup here. No strangers to the slow play, especially on these eco rounds for Splyce, as they've been a little bit tricky in some of these rounds here. This time, though, they're going to play very straightforward, just essentially hiding all 5 of their players inside of each of the sites. So you've got Roka and Davey kind of setting up for a crossbar angle here against a banana push, and then the 3 on A. More so watching out again for a porch play, which has been Liquid's go-to for quite a few of these gun rounds.
Technically, an arch player isn't completely necessary if you do have like a fast rotate, or if you've got, and you don't have to worry about the B wrap, but Liquid have shown that they might do B wrap, which should be worrying for the CTs. They don't want to have to allow that possibility to happen. Especially
after moving Davey off, so he's not got this super long range angle. He's going to have to essentially tap on the CZ, and he actually does get a little bit of damage to start it off. Roka as well. However, peaks just a little bit too soon, and it's right as Stanislaw was looking at him. So Nitro's going to be able to easily knock out Roka, brings him down low. Davey won't even attempt to re-peek after he got blocked off by that smoke. He just heads right back inside of the church here. and he'll sit inside and wait for the rotates. Not that they're really going to be able to do much. I don't even think that they're even attempting anything here. Just essentially going to be trying to trap Liquid players and rack up at least a few more kills. But Liquid being very stalwart and checking everything. So they knock out Davey. They know that Mitch is hiding behind that pillar. They don't want to push it, though, just to make sure that there was no one else hiding on the left side here. It'd be a nasty crossspray to try and clear, so they sit back and wait for it. And with the elimination of Mitch, everyone from Liquid should be able to easily walk out through CT and stay alive. So that's going to be more and more economy build-up for them as we get deeper into the half.
Yeah, and it's an easy road for the T's when you put these rounds together. We can see that there is some damage dealt, 3K apiece on each player, but with this bomb plant, another round loss, a round win bonus, I should say, they're going to have so much left. And they didn't get any kills, so Liquid won't have to reinvest in anything but grenades. And this is definitely the best, I think this is so far like the best T side in terms of variation that we've seen from Liquid on Inferno, where they've done an anti-eco with a split B through CT, a straight up walk B, an arch wrap on A, even on their anti-ecos, and then another rounds where they did like a lane hit that ended up not working, which honestly they have a very low success rate with. But apart from that, have been extremely hard to read.
Mm-hmm. And now Splyce still in an eco this time around here. In fact, it's even less so than what they had in the last round. They get a little bit more utility, but they lose armor on all of their players. They end up with 4 CZs, and they attempt to just gamble stack B. This will work to kill Stam, but the problem is every single other member is on the other side of the map. If they can cut off Nitro here, though, then they might be able to make something work, but yeah, odds are they're going to support Nitro pretty well to make sure that nothing odd happens here when he crosses back, and they get him pretty much secured up to the A-bomb site, so that should be the end of any winnable circumstance there for Splyce. Only 3 remaining there, sitting back over on Banana. They picked up that AK, so they can try to save that at least, but the round, once again, is very much going to head over to Liquid here. It'll be 8-2.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff. Try to gamble stack after getting that opening kill on Stanislaw. That didn't do anything. That didn't do too much or have too much influence on the round. Liquid weren't prepared to try to hit B behind him or even go A. And I think Splyce expected the re-aggression towards B, which we've definitely seen from teams to give up that 5v4, but not simply go to the other site, go back to the same site just after a certain amount of time, assuming the other team will rotate back. So complete gamble from Splyce, I think, totally justified. It's just pretty much a 50-50. You can only have so much information when you have pistols. Some good damage from Semphis.
Stick there. Down to 21 HP, and now stuck in the corner. Dinks another one, but unfortunately will now burn to the fire. JDM will get the credit for the kill, and Liquid, finally with the bomb exploding, will get the round. 8-2. Looks like Splyce keep that AK at least, so they will get that bonus carrying Roka into this one, so he's going to have to spend a pretty minimal amount of cash here. Everyone else should be fully rebuying, and we get into another gun round.
Yeah, let's see if they use a 2-op setup again. I'm not sure if they will, but I'm not sure if it won them a round either, but maybe it was at the 5-1 that we saw it the first time. Here it's just going to be Semphis using it. I don't think we saw a huge impact from either person last time, but maybe that'll change. JDM's nade flies back at him, so it's still going to take a similar angle. Another Molotov to refresh. Top banana control, and now that they know that no one's peeking down, it seems like they want to set up for something A, and it looks like they might take it a little bit more quickly because they haven't left anybody to watch the B flank.
Liquid will move everyone back, however, after throwing out these nades, it is like they split the player base up a little bit. It's only actually Stan that goes back. Elish was looking to fall away for a second there too, but he's now going to regroup, and everyone will be pushing into the site. There's a lot of smoke coverage here, though, so it is going to make it a bit dodgy if Liquid push it just directly for Porch again. There's even a smoke covering off his balcony. Mitch, however, again, caught looking away, completely blinded, trying to spam into that corner position where people usually jump down to, but there's no one there this time. He just dies to Twist. Drone patiently waiting, gets a little bit impatient, though. It jumps up on top of the box. It's going to give him a double. No, a triple kill now against the members of Team Liquid, but Twist will take him down, and all that triple kill serves to do is to even out the fight. All it does is bring it down to a 2v2.
Look at how long the rotate was, because they decided to walk back off Banana, not peek it, go boost at quad, that they were so far away from A to no one to help. They relied so heavily on their site hold, and they would have had these rotates in like 5 or 6 seconds sooner if they had banana control or any more info.
Roka's going to strike first. You're relying on Davey for nade support. However, Roka goes in, instantly headshots Twist, leaving only Elish alive. Elish will trade for one, knows the second is quickly pushing back in. He's lost track of him, though, so he's going to be off the mark when he peeks. He's now going to look for him. He's trying to go for the up-close headshot, and really just to waste time as he takes down Davey. He will close out, though, in the 1v2, and that gives Liquid another round.
Damn, that was really close. And again, Drone playing out of his mind there. Was that another 3 or 4 kills?
It was 3, I believe.
3K, yeah, but 3K rifle kills from the site hold after his teammates had died too. So imperative. And in the retake, it's pretty much a 50-50. The 2v2, they're in pretty good spots. I think again though, Splyce is not fighting for control of anything, and because they aren't doing that, they are relying heavily on either their 3 players at A or their 2 players at B. But if you have information, you can have a big flank and you can have a jump start on the retake. And sometimes you can even get to the site while your teammates are still fighting. And if you don't have that, well, then you're going to lose most of the time, because that's one of the calls to action on Inferno for a terrorist, is to try to separate the CTs as much as possible so that when you do take the site, the rotate takes too long and you get your smokes down, get comfortable, and get unknown afterplant spots.
Liquid have moved in and taken apartments control. Not a momentous task, but they have started at least, and they're probably going to transition this into mid control once again, which is, again, not really too surprising if you've been following along with the match here. Should be able to waltz in a moment. Pretty much free control here, as the noise on Banana is going to call for a rotate on Semph, at least a partial one to bring him to the other side of Arches, but he'll quickly shift back when they don't see any actual push from Team Liquid and realize it's just noise to try and bait the rotate. So it does work to a certain degree, but this will now move back into his normal position. And the rest of Liquid actually seeing the bomb fall back through the T-Hall, so it might end up being a B hit anyway. JDM has a slight window to peek through this smoke here, and he almost hits the shot on the Semphis peeking around the corner, but it's actually going to be Davey that strikes first here on Banana. Manages the blind Nitro taking him down, and that may cause some more second thoughts for Liquid. And indeed it does. They had the bomb ready to go up Banana, but now they're just going to send it the other way into A instead. It'll have to be a quick play, though, with only 20 seconds left. They're not going to leave a lot of time for themselves at all in order to get into the site. Pushing forward here, there's still smokes blocking them off as well. Splyce has done a great job of delaying. Mitch finishing off as Aroka gets that spot there onto the player on balcony. Gives the info to Mitch with only 8 seconds remaining. This is not looking good for Liquid. In fact, they're not even going to attempt it. They're going to fall back. But look, Davey has the potential to pinch here. If they don't pay attention, they could lose a lot of players on the way out, and that would be very costly. Looks like they stop in the apartments, though. Davey will jump up and try to get aggressive. Pre-fires in the wrong spot, so he won't get the kill.
That was a very clutch save. All their AKs, they also, that would have been a great way to stunt their economy. I mean, they still have a lot to spend, but with that, it would have been like all their AK buys plus not getting any loss bonus at all. So a good round from Splyce to get that kill at top Banana on the re-aggression for map control, which is very important. They killed Nitro clean, and that's as Liquid have decided to go B as well. So perfect timing, and it was because they were brave enough to do it. Now, hopefully they find that they can find that same courage on a round where they have more to lose, because it's equally as important. So here we are with rifles.
The unfortunate kills against Team Liquid there do end up costing them the round on the timer. So now they are going to be splitting their players up again, just trying to play around with the map a bit, see if they can get some players and rotating over to B, and more importantly, taking that gold card control, so they're going to be able to get that pretty easily. Splyce not moving an inch, still keeping all their players in the usual positions here, not trying to get aggressive with anyone. They have started to rotate Semph over once again, and they might want to actually commit to that this time too, as Liquid once again are keeping the options open. They've moved Stanislaw into that corner position in case Splyce go to aggressively clear out towards Banana. It doesn't look like they'll do that though, based on the playstyle we've been seeing so far. A little bit of a botched flash, but now a smoke will come in. Nitro has some second thoughts about pushing past that, so the entire team is going to move away, and they'll have to look for options through the apartments instead now if they still want to try to go A.
One tell for Liquid is that whenever they want to set up for A, they always send a Legion Twist into halls. This is 2 players, and sometimes with appropriate hall setup, you can kind of crush that. Another time, a B player goes down. They've been doing a good job of catching this lurk too early.
Mitch is able to do some good damage here too. Actually, excuse me, that's Drone playing into that corner now, not Mitch. So Drone will actually get taken down after he dinks a player. Semphis now dead too, so it is Mitch stuck in the corner. He's able to lead into 1 kill, gets the bomb too, but expects a pit player to peek him next, so is looking away from JDM when he comes back out from the balcony. That will clear out the site. There's still 2 of the B players alive for Splyce to rotate into this, and they might actually attempt it, considering they have 2 smokes and another HE grenade sitting there on Roka as well. So they might have the capability to go for this. At least one of them has kit, so they do get that extra 5 seconds here, but it's taking a lot of time to get Davey into position, and that might be the one thing that kind of kills this retake here. Nade actually does somewhat decent damage, not anything major though, since JDM was already hit a little bit there. And ultimately, it doesn't look like they're actually going to attempt this. They can't find an early enough kill, so they'll sit back and exit positions instead, and just look to try and do damage against Team Liquid.
This is really rough for Splyce. Another 5v4 situation into round loss, and it's because as they get their kill on Banana, everyone from Splyce stays still in their sights, which favors them quite a bit. But then Liquid managed to get those 2 entries without any kills. Drone dinks somebody on the balcony like twice through the wall and then gets killed. That's a bit unlucky. I think also eats a great flash from Liquid, but then when he tries to fall off, gets stuck on something and is like right at the last angle that Elish could possibly see him when he peers over the balcony. So I think a little bit unfortunate for Splyce overall is they didn't rotate, they didn't over-rotate, which was really good, and they killed the Lurk, which I think told them a lot. But and also I was wondering where that JDM shot was. It completely, because it was a wall bang, and it seemed like he wasn't peeked out at all to kill Mitch. That he just hit him like totally through that doorway.
He did, not sure. Molly though, but an instant smoke from Semphis is gonna.
Oh my god!
Keeps him alive for a couple seconds there at least. Yeah.
It's a seminar.
So 3 HE grenades to the cubby will kill Semphis pretty easily there. A little bit overkill, but it gets the job done. And at no risk to the Liquid players either, so they get that nice first kill. And it's in clean fashion, so they have a 5v4 to work off of again. Tapping on the smoke from Mitch, but he might have wanted to throw it just a tad earlier as Elise chooses to peek before it blooms or take out the pit player. Drone, however, wrapping out, is able to surprise Stanisol, taking him down. Trying to hide in the smoke. He's going to be a little bit careful against JDM, however. So now actually he's going to get pushed from mid by Roka. Splyce are making this work amongst the chaos here. Liquid are struggling to get into stable positions. I think they fixed that issue now, however, as they have 1 in pit, 2 in the site. They moved away from the outskirts here as they're not going to choose to take any further risk with Splyce. Ready at any moment here to move in and start their retake. Time is getting low, however, for Splyce, and they haven't done much in terms of getting back this control just yet. Even with 2 kits in their arsenal, they're going to have to look for these kills very quickly. Losing one of their players on the way in. They do spot a second. Now, do they get confused with that? No, Elise just manages all 3 from the pit, destroying the retake and giving yet another round to Team Liquid.
He's so insane, man. He's so nuts. He even peeked out Halls to get that like easy 1-tap, and then it like, this is all like insane. First bullet headshot, last kill, no problem. Gets pit control. It all starts with Mitch going down to really, really clean shot. And after he just tried to smoke Halls as well. So, you know, opportunistic.
So now Mitch, on it, basically just like a full-out buy here now since it is the last round. They are going to attempt to get aggressive since they don't really have the best buy. But as you can see, that hasn't worked out too great. In fact, it's just down to Drone now in a 1v4 situation. Only 1 trade being found from Semphis onto Stan. Drone. There's a gun down somewhere here, but in peeking mid, it just gives himself away to JDM anyway. So there you go, quick closeout from Team Liquid there on the final round, and they end up with a very dominating scoreline of 12-3. Stick with us to see if they can follow that through for a quick closeout in the second half, or if Splyce will be able to bounce back in the second half.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Welcome back once again, folks. It's time for more action here at the ESL Pro League. Team Liquid taking on Splyce, and it's been, well, pretty much as expected here so far, with Team Liquid taking complete control over the first half on Inferno, a 12-3 scoreline, with Splyce only showing up in a few of those gun rounds there in order to get their 3 rounds.
Yeah, only a few, and overall Liquid just had such good variation leading into the end of the half, where they were picking different ways to approach anti-ecos, even the kind of riskier ones that allowed them to split. They had their wrap through CT from Arch. They had a wrap on A. They decided to, and they got shut down on some of their lurks too on the rifle rounds, which is the most surprising part. A lot of 5v4 losses for Splyce, which is probably going to be a bit difficult to stomach. And you know, a couple of very important rounds, like Mitch dies. Mitch dies to like a straight up insane shot to Elige in that last round, but in a previous round dies quick switching in Pit, and Pit is just a position that is so important. I'd say honestly, Drone probably should have been playing it considering how well he was doing, and it's so imperative that you stay alive there, because even when the bomb goes down, sometimes the Pit player can stay around to delay. We saw how important Stanislaus saw that and made sure to kill Drone that one round where he was actually in Pit.
They actually did switch, I think, to using him in the pit later on in the half there, but it was a little bit too late, obviously, at that point. Anyway, getting into the action here now. Splyce going to go for a quick push out the halls. Twist has already seen some of this. Whether he knows the amount of numbers is yet to be seen, but now he'll be tested. JDM shows up the first kill, but he's traded out instantly, and Splyce also pick up 2 more kills after that first one there, clearing out the A site very, very quickly, and now leaving it down to a 2v4. So it's looking good for Splyce to maybe take the pistol again here. You'll remember they won it in the first half, but then got traded in the next round. So they're going to hopefully look to be a little bit better off this time by winning it and then following through. They need to knock out these last 2 Liquid players first. Nitro starts off the retake with a kill onto Roka and Pit here. Elige also hunting for one. It takes him a while, but he does indeed get the job done. And now Nitro finds another one. All of a sudden, the tables turn, and it's Davey left alone. He gets a quick first kill, but Elige is able to use his teammate as bait and move in there to get the quick trade kill and win the round for Liquid.
Yeah, look at that. Another clutch round for Elige, and you know, he made it pretty easy. The trade was instant as his teammate pushed into the site. There wasn't much that Davey could do there, but wow, it seemed like the site take was going so well. They got the bomb down, I think, with 3 or 4 people alive, and it was really all about the retake. Wait, why did Semphis just run out of Pit like that?
I think that was the main issue, is they just took so many battles they didn't need to take in that site.
What is the value of running out of Pit like that? Why not just stay in Pit behind the wall or watch? You don't even have to watch Archway. You can just stand behind the wall, watch anyone jumping out. If the bomb is planted even for you at all, like, there's no reason to do that.
So this is an interesting buy here, as Splyce obviously so far behind. They need to get something done. So what they're going to do is they're going to do the Raid Boss second round buy, giving 2 of their players AKs that'll get donated over, and the players with the AKs themselves will buy up armor and utilities. So essentially they're fully equipped, whereas the rest of their teammates are essentially just going to have, you know, like P250s or something like that.
Yeah. I do like this kind of buy. I think it is kind of probably necessary for them to pull something like this off. And I don't think Liquid will give them that much respect to make sure they buy all the best guns possible, but they do have 3 rifles to work with. So it isn't going to be all that easy. I quite like waiting out all the pre-nades early in the round in a situation where Liquid expects something probably fast and scrimmy. And here's Elige. Wow. Oh my god, he almost transferred too. That was nuts.
Just going off at the start, gets a quick 2 kills before being traded by Semphis. Splyce playing this very carefully. They did lose one of their AKs, but yeah, there it is. Should get picked up pretty quickly again, this time by Semphis, as the rest of the team is going to try to go up banana. Obviously, once again, though, as I said before, taking their time with this, just as they were doing at the beginning of the round, but Liquid is certainly not going to leave only 1 player on that site to defend it. They rotate Stan over. He'll play over here, actually behind the smoke right now. It doesn't look like he's going to push directly through it due to the timing of the push from Splyce. The Splyce move in, Nitro is able to go 1 for 1. Stan kind of actually finds an angle through the smoke, but he can only also get 1 kill too. That still sets it up in a 1v2 for Mitch. He'll have to clutch that with only 35 HP, but he actually has quite a bit of time to set himself up here. Liquid are very slowly rotating over from the A bomb site. Twist would be arriving here first. Now that JDM's up at Banana, they can move in, start the retake. The first initial flash completely blinds Mitch, but won't knock him out of the battle just yet. He's now been found, though. Tags just a slight amount of damage onto JDM. With the last 2 pushing together, that does open up an opportunity for the clutch, but now goes for the reload and is stuck in the corner, which gives the kill over to Twist and should allow him to easily defuse this bomb and send Liquid up to 14 rounds.
It was close, and he almost actually got away, which would have caused a whole new problem for Twist. And the 1v1 meta would have began, but here's Elige just basically wide peeking down into a lane with nothing, just because they're probably winning so much, and he knows that there was no one nearby him, and also, you know, getting those kills. But even after doing 250 damage, Splyce managed to get in the site, get the bomb down. That was pretty good. It's just it might be a little bit too late at this point. And here we have Splyce just forcing up one more time, because this is the bed you made when you decided to force second round of the half after going down 12-3, and really just kind of messing up the pistol.
Now having to come back from impossible odds, otherwise it would be a quick cleanup here from Team Liquid to be able to take victory on map 1. Remember, there is still the second map, which I believe is going to be on Train, and that'll be coming up right after this. But that'll be a second match. They're not combined in any way, unless they end up tying at the end of the season. So let's see here. Splyce is going to go for a quick push into the A site. 2 other players will roll out from balcony, and 3 more are going to go. And actually kind of just taking the page out of Liquid's book here, so they did this quite a bit in the last half as well. But Splyce do not have anywhere near the gun power that Liquid have here, so Twist will continue to spam, and he actually does get to half damage, but it's even trades. As Splyce go into the site, JDM ended up wrapping around the other side, so he's not with the group immediately when the site take happens. However, there's a very fast rotate. Everyone is already here from the B-bomb site, and they'll immediately start fragging. JDM picking one up in the halls here. Semphis, again, trying to peek out into that lane towards the porch there. Goes down. Drone with a nice headshot. He's going to hold for 2 more. He gets the second one. Now caught in a reload here, but Elige knows what's going on. He quickly pushes forward up on top of the box to secure that final kill and make sure that Liquid once again closes out here.
Yeah, they did their best again. Once again, even though it started off with like such a low buy, getting to the site, getting the bomb down. Fortunately, I think for Splyce, we don't get to see much more of this half, or much more of a T side, or a T side where they have full buys. We're gonna have another force moving into what could be the last round of the match. After a pretty stellar performance from Liquid, further solidifying their place in the top 6 on the road to Odense.
So Splyce with this last force buy here. Going to try to make their attempt to go back up here, and once again they'll start it off very slow too, as I believe they're expecting Liquid to get aggressive. They're correct about that actually, as Liquid send 3 players out to Banana right at the start. Semphis, I think, saw the player jumping towards half wall there, so he's going to call that out, and then will allow Roka to get the first kill, knocking out Nitro for the first time in a while. I do have Splyce with a man advantage to start off the round here. They still have a lot of recovering to do, however, and a lot more work to climb back from. Even just winning this round is going to be a start for them, however, so they'll look to do it here. But after getting that kill, we're not going to see any additional pressure on Banana just yet. Nice little boost at mid, though. Stanislaw is able to get away with a frag onto Semphis, and now immediately re-evens the equation back down into a 4v4.
It was a really good way to use a gimmick to try to get back the 5v4 instead of actually using one man to try to push out and take a huge risk. There was a very safe option that might be unexpected. Splyce run back to the site that they were going to avoid.
It all goes quiet for right now, though, as Splyce are still looking for their route to get into the site. They will leave themselves about 40 seconds. Twitch should have just seen the player going out. He's going to toss out the smoke over there to the side, and he's trying to block off other options here. He's really waiting for that player to come out balcony. Stanislaw, meanwhile, rips apart 2 players before being traded by Mitch. Twisted Pits ready to take the fight, though, and he'll close out for Team Liquid, getting the last 2 kills, and that'll seal it, ladies and gentlemen. Team Liquid take a dominating first map here, and they'll come out on top, starting off 1-0 for the evening.
That was a clean last round in particular. That was a good one to look at. Stanislaw got that flash from Twist to make sure that no one was wrapping Arch on them. Once he did that, he could stay focused on everyone in the lane. They Twist through that Molotov in a halls, reposition in pit, so his last known position was unknown, and they made that look really easy. So yeah, nice performance.
So a quick first map closeout there for Team Liquid. We have the analysts standing by in order to break down Inferno. Gentlemen?
A little bit of a rough one there. Guys, what do we see?
Yeah, I mean, a theme, and in a second we're going to look at some replays to add to this theme. The theme for me was, you know, Splyce not being able to find that spot in between being loose and also being, you know, fundamentally sound. You know, we saw a couple rounds where they did do some good loose plays, and that's where they got their couple rounds. But outside of that, Liquid doing pretty much as I expected, really breaking down the map, doing proper map control, and just doing the things that they need to do on Inferno, such as controlling, aside from that eco loss to Splyce, but outside that, or eco win. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so they grabbed the pistol, and I believe we can actually just go ahead and take a look now. We have round 2 loaded up for you guys at home.
So this one was just kind of what starts a 5-round winning spree here. This is just kind of showing, you know, if Liquid or Splyce is going to give them too much respect and they're going to sit back, it doesn't matter what guns Liquid does. They're going to do things fundamentally sound and be there as a team. So this is just kind of the start of that process. We wanted to lay the narrative down for you guys a little. Splyce can win rounds, but that's if Roka gets a 4-kill, and that's not how you're going to win every round, right?
Yeah, you can't rely on that, especially, like, they kind of crafted the B-bomb spot and also Banana to such an extent where, like, you know, as CTs, you can't just wait back in the site anymore. It's just not possible. The openings are bigger. You can't smoke off the gaps and play, like, you know, behind the smokes for the entire round, because the round time is long enough as well.
Exactly.
And if you're going to stay in the site, like, I would love that if I'm a T-Cells. Walk up every round and, you know, prove to me that you can hold it from the site, because most people cannot.
Like, actively force them to put pressure on you, make them get out of their comfort zone.
So that begs the question, is it the mindset that is the problem first, such as are they playing too loose or too confident, or is it simply have they not
It seems like they haven't really drilled it, right? Because, like, if you were to drill that round, an anti-eco round against, you know, like 1 Molotov, 1 smoke, a few flashes, and 4 spot tees that have pistols and running, like you'd probably realize that that's not a recipe for success.
Basically, you can't even get to confidence, right, Trace, if you don't have the basics down.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's 1 and 1 have to make, I think that makes 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, look, so we were able to look at a video off angle there from Boxer and Launder's pre-map, but our next replay kind of ties into that. We got round number 8 loaded up for you guys at home.
So, yeah, what happens in this situation is Liquid kind of wraps up around A. Oh, it's just the end of the round right here. So, basically what happened is prior to this, they walked up ramp, and they catch these fights where the people are in, like, big pit and whatnot, and this kind of just exemplifies Inferno. The round could have went either way, but it was kind of back to my point where Splyce kind of got caught off guard and let Liquid just walk up through CTR and wrap library because they have basic map control. And so there's always this junction in the round where you know you're at a disadvantage because the T's have map control, so Splyce knew they were at a disadvantage. And then the reaction there was, all right, Semphis falls back library by himself. But it's one of those things where I just feel like Splyce's only chance to win these rounds are individual. And I don't feel like their fallback plans are that thought out. And
it's also like when you're in Semphis's position there, like if you haven't communicated with your rotator B pregame or like multiple days earlier on how you would go about this situation, what you're saying in that moment might not convey to them or illustrate to them what's actually happening, right?
Plus, it's adding stress to you to think more about what you need to do with your teammates.
And also, like, there was also too many peaks at the wrong times from various people, right? Like that guy who got killed in the big pit underneath balcony after the bomb plant from the T's. It's like you could literally just push yourself up next to the wall and say, you know, they could push me big pit. Other than that, I'm staying alive. I need you guys to get moto ASAP, and if they push me, then you swing, right? But I'm going to stay alive for as long as possible. But he didn't do that.
I mean, even to this note, we see a different Splyce here than we seemingly saw against SK on the same map. And again, pregame, we're talking about protocols. We're talking about things that were absolutely necessary for Splyce to mix up to stay within the game. But it just seemingly didn't happen that way. We've got another replay loaded up for you guys here at home. And I believe we're jumping into round 12.
So this one is, they're just, you know, Liquid's taking a normal mid control, but right here it's really good by Splyce. They actually said they don't have mid control, but they do have B control. Davey calls for a pop flash, gets in that smoke, and kind of breaches through and gets a kill on Nitro. This leads to them having some numbers. It does a little chaos. It leaves them have to fall back. And now you're forcing Liquid's hand. You're able to quickly kind of rotate over and know that they're coming in. This helps the defense at A. You know, if you know when the T's are coming, that's like half the battle for you holding the site. Drone plays the site spot well here, does some damage, and they hold it down and get the round win. But that was my point where Splyce needs to kind of play loose. And when you say loose, it makes people think like drop protocol. But no, the protocol was proper. It was just be confident that you could run out Banana and take that fight. You don't need to sit in the bomb site because you're a Banana player. You're fighting against map control. And Liquid, I just don't think found a happy medium. And I think, like I said, they needed to have enough rounds on CT to allow a good T side if they're not getting more than 5. So I think their confidence at that point going to T was just
I mean, it was a landslide at that point.
And then they lose a 2v4, a 4v2 pistol, which you also have a replay of.
Yep, and so that's the next thing, right, Trace?
Yeah, and you know what? It actually is. We're going to take a look now at the second pistol.
So this is what Marcus and I were talking about. Marcus brought it to my attention first. I thought Splyce won the round because I looked down and started taking notes.
Yeah.
And then Marcus said, no, look at they literally swing. So this goes back into, guys, playing loose is not playing desperate. If you're going to go ahead and take fights like this, you might as well not even play the match. Because what's happening here is they're not setting up protocols. Corey just runs out of pit to take a fight. Now, these guys are all smart enough players, but if you know that you have big pit control, you can literally have 2 guys spot everything. One spots hall and porch, the other spots moto pit, and then the other 2 guys in that situation should be what are called indicator players. So the 2 guys spotting are the indicators, and the 2 guys are the swingers right there. That's a funny thing. We're all swingers in the game. So regardless of that point, the humor of it is the bait and switch thing sometimes can be too obvious because it can get manipulated. But in this case, when you have big pit control, bait and switch is perfect. You do not want to take fights as the first point of contact. You want to spot hall porch, spot moto.
Especially because trades on pistol rounds are harder to get, right?
Exactly.
Like on an AK, if you have an AK, it's easier to guarantee you get a trade. So
and you don't need to play bait and switch as much because you can actually get juked on the bait and switch. You guys know what I'm talking about. Someone will shoot a bullet to get you to peek because you assume they're shooting at your teammate. You can't do that in pistols. Stick to the fundamentals on pistol. Stay strong. And you know, I think that was analogous of of Splyce in the whole match.
Yeah,
they weren't really focused on the fundamentals. And what happens is when you play desperate, you know what it's a sign of? Lack of preparation. So hopefully Splyce could show us something more.
I might have to make like an add-on to the off-angle thing, showing how like CT's small mistakes when holding angles inside the A bomb site. If you over-peak an angle or peak it too early, it completely ruins the whole setup for everyone involved on your team. Right? Like I saw, I don't know who it was. I'm not trying to point shade at anybody, and everyone makes mistakes, right? It's okay, like as long as you learn from it. But he's playing that box that's tucked up in the corner next to default box at A, and he has a buddy Big Pit who can take flack or take heat from him, but he over peaks on the box, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't, all you need to do is hide in the corner.
I mean, the pistol round here in a 2v4, like you're saying, we saw this pretty much the entirety of the match. You know, and rather taking fights 1-on-1, ideally the right thing to do is at least converge 2-on-1, 3-on-1s, and do those sort of fights.
Yeah. And then what you do is when you peak early and you die, you put your teammates in a worse situation. So now they have to make questionable decisions, and then everyone's getting mad at each other, right? Because like you died first, now the next guy has to make a bad play because he has to save it, and then he's getting like, it's just so bad.
Well, guys, that does it for Inferno. We're going into Train. That is going to be our next map here between these two teams. And honestly, can we expect a better fight here from Splyce?
I hope.
I mean, they got 16-0 the other day by SK on this train match. SK ran a train on them, for lack of a better phrase in my mind.
No, there's not a better phrase. That's the one.
So, you know, I don't know. Liquid's specialty has always been an overwhelming T side. Now, if Splyce kind of has that same issue where they dying at the wrong time, that's the whole concept, right? Is you're not dying at the right time, so your team could rotate. If Splyce is taking these individual fights outside, Liquid is going to liquefy Splyce, and they will not be able to splice their chances back together.
Yep, they've got to get something going here. That's right. The first map going in the way of Liquid. Our second one is going to be the same two teams in Splyce and Liquid teeing off on Train. So make sure you're here with us in the Train Yard.